Hey guys, I finally did this video, my apologies. And before we start it's shot all on a GoPro 2 camera, very old camera, and it's mounted on my chest, so it will get bouncy or bumpy. So just be aware of that. My apologies for that. I love this kayak. It's the Baysports 2.9/4.2 meter kayak. I'm using the 2-piece here. You'll see the 3-piece in action a little later in the video. This thing has been great. Absolutely love it. I've had a couple of teething issues with it. The Baysports crew have been fantastic. Answered my email straight away, which is what you want. You can see I just took off the trolley. I got that from trusty Temu. That makes life a lot easier wheeling this thing around. Most of you, if you're using this in public, will have it in pieces though. You'll be transporting it in pieces. And it's a lot easier just to put it in the water when you're standing at about waist height. You can clip it underneath the water with your arm. It's very easy to do. For me here, I've got it set up on my canal wall. I've got the yoga mats. Yoga mats, I use 2 of them. They're very cheap from Kmart, very light as well. So I lay the mats down and I just push the kayak off it. It protects the bottom of the kayak. Makes life a lot easier as well. And if you're doing this in public, you can take your kayak yoga mats with you, and they roll up and just sit on the back of your kayak. They don't take up much room at all. As I just lower the kayak in, I'm fortunate enough to have stairs here. In a public place, obviously you don't have stairs. You need to get onto the kayak and get off the kayak from the sea wall. There is a guy on YouTube who's done this, so I'm not going to get into how you do that. You can check him out on YouTube. He shows you exactly what to do there. But this thing is so stable. I haven't fallen out yet. I've actually stood up in it too. You'll see that in the video. It's very stable because it's got a flat bottom. It's not fast. It goes 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers is the top speed so far that I've gone with these pedals. But it's great if you want to go out fishing, just cruise around, go exploring. It's fantastic for that. I have popped my head out in the ocean. Felt totally safe. It wasn't overly rough, but it is very, very stable. That rear rudder there, it's very hard to pull on the rope to pull that up out of the water and drop it down. So I manually pull it up and tighten the rope with the other hand. Now, one of those metal screws on the side that clips the kayak together, one of those has already failed from the get-go. It wasn't grabbing. Baysports got right onto it and sent me another one to replace it with. And it was easy to replace. It's only 3 screws. But let's get into it. Let's go. how good was that? The Dolphins, the Swans, amazing. Now I'm in a little bit slightly rougher water, not too bad. It handles very well. I've actually had a lot of boats come past doing 8 knots, so I've got their wake, and this thing just rides right over the top, which is what you want. I don't get any splashing inside the boat, inside the kayak. It handles very well. Here I give it a stand-up test, replicating fishing. I wave my arms about to see how it goes for balance, and it's fine. I wouldn't go walking up and down on it. It probably handles okay, but yeah, just for fishing, it'll be okay. I've ordered a 360-degree seat for this, so I might do another video later. I find if you've got back problems or neck issues, you can't really turn to see what boats are coming up behind. So I figured the 360 will solve that issue. It'll be interesting to see how it goes with these pedals, whether or not it throws you off balance and the stability changes. All right, let's head back home. We are home. The storage in this thing's amazing. That black hatch at the top there of the front of the kayak, that is huge, but you don't put anything that you don't want to get wet in there because it's not waterproof. It's good for ropes, shoes, gloves. But the waterproof section is this hatch right here. I still put stuff in a waterproof bag though, because that's just me. And I've got my phone in that clear section, so it saves you putting your salty hands inside the bag. I recommend those bags. That's another great buy from Temu. You'll see when I get out of the kayak, it barely moves. Even sitting on the edge of this thing, it won't topple you out, it won't flip over. If you've got any questions regarding this, just please throw them in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. See, it barely moved. I'll take it out and give it a good wash down. I also wash the pedals. I give them a really good clean, get the salt out, and also give them a spray of lanolin to keep them nice and lubed. And then I leave everything out to dry and leave that hatch, that front hatch, I spray down with water as well, leave that open to air it out. And also I unscrew the drainage screws whilst it's sitting there drying. But yeah, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, any questions, just throw them in the comments, and I'll leave you to it. You can watch me wash her down if you wish, and I'll catch you next time.